The month of May is rapidly approaching, which means it's almost time for the Indy 500. I'm Rachel, and in this race rambling, I'll be giving you a complete beginner's guide to the Indy 500, telling you everything you need to know to understand the race, how qualifying works, how the race works, basics of strategy, and basically everything you need to know to be able to enjoy the experience. Now, this is not a beginner's guide to IndyCar. I have a separate beginner's guide for that if you are interested. Watch that, come back here. Though you can watch this and get the gist of what you need to know for the 500, though I do think if you watch the 500, you will become hooked, and then you will want to go watch my rambling about a beginner's guide to IndyCar, period, because you'll become hooked and you'll want to watch the rest of the series. As I did, that was literally what happened to me. So let's just get into it. Some general things you need to know is that this race is a big deal. It is its own video because it is the single most important race in the IndyCar series. Some people rate winning the Indy 500 over winning an IndyCar championship. I don't want to say some people. I think a lot of people would prefer to be an Indy 500 champion than the whole entire IndyCar champion the whole year. It's also a really big deal in motorsport, period. It's part of the Triple Crown of racing, which includes the F1 Monaco Grand Prix, 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Indy 500. I would say of those three races, this is the most jam-packed session you'll get. Monaco is like fun, but really qualifying is more important than the race, and it's more fun than the race. 24 Hours of Le Mans is fun. It's fun that it's just lasting so long. It's its own feat in that. But the Indy 500 is like 3 hours of just the most amazing racing you've ever seen throughout the entire thing. It's exhilarating. There's literally nothing like it. Like I'm telling you, you're gonna, even if you don't like over racing, you're gonna watch the Indy 500 and be like, oh, I get it now. I get it. And not every race is as good as Indy 500, let's be clear. But if you're like, I think this is a perfect gateway if you're like interested, but just like aren't unconvinced so far. It takes place over Memorial Day weekend every year, always a Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. It's the biggest single day sporting event ever, bigger than the Super Bowl in terms of in-person attendance. Okay, let's get some more specific info now. So 33 cars start the race. Always. Only ever 33. Now, often more than 33 cars will try to qualify, as will happen this year, but only 33 make the race. That means some people get bumped, some people do not get to race in the Indy 500. It's awful, but that's what makes Indy 500 so special, is that you don't get to take it for granted. So 33 cars this season, 27 cars are starting all other IndyCar races, so there are 7 additional people coming for the Indy 500, including the 34 that are attempting to qualify. So not all of these are purely Indy 500 exclusive. Some of these also do ovals, but most of these are Indy 500 exclusive rides. If you want to get the full list of all of the drivers that are typically there, check out my beginner's guide to IndyCar video. I'm just going to touch on the exclusive Indy 500 drives here. So Marco Andretti, obviously son of Michael Andretti, will be racing for Andretti. He has never won the Indy 500. Takuma Sato will also be racing. He has won 2 Indy 500s, and he will be racing for Rahal Letterman Lanigan. Ed Carpenter will also be racing. He owns the team. Ed Carpenter, he has not won the Indy 500. Trying. Helio Castroneves is a 4-time Indy 500 champion, trying for the 5th, the first ever to do the 5th if he does it. He's going to be racing with Meyer Shank Racing. NASCAR driver Kyle Larson will be attempting to do the double. So if you guys don't know, on the day of the Indy 500, also the same day as the Coke 600 in Charlotte, I believe. So Kyle Larson came last year to attempt to do the double, basically race the Indy 500, fly over to Charlotte and do that race. Didn't end up working last year because the Indy 500 got delayed because of rain, and then by the time he got to Charlotte, that also stopped because of rain, so he's attempting to do the double again. He will be racing with Aaron McLaren. Ryan Hunter-Reay has won the Indy 500 one time, and he will be racing with Indy 500 exclusive team. This whole team only runs at the Indy 500. Dreyer and Reinbolt Racing / Cusick Motorsports. Also racing for there will be Jack Harvey, who has never won the Indy 500. That is all of them. So as you can see, many of them are already associated with the teams. Helio Castroneves is a in management, driver motivation, I don't know what you call it him, at Meyer Shank. Ed Carpenter obviously owns Ed Carpenter Racing. Marco Andretti, he's in the Andretti family. So yeah, these are all typically existing connections. And as you can see, a lot of these people are retired IndyCar drivers. Actually, all of these have raced in IndyCar except for Kyle Larson. So you can tell that they're done with racing, but they will not give up the Indy 500. They will be trying to win the Indy 500 as long as somebody will give them a car. That's how important the Indy 500 is. And you're not going to get it until you watch the race. If you've never seen the Indy 500, it's just not going to click for you until you see it, and you'll be like, oh, I understand. Something about this is magic. I'm like, gassing it up so high, but like literally you'll get it and you'll be like, oh, this is literally the best thing ever. Another thing to note is that these are specific cars to the 500. If we had longer ovals, other ovals on the calendar, which we don't really have other short ovals right now, these cars might be raced at those. It's just different like aero spec. They're made to turn left mostly, as opposed to like the regular IndyCar would go both ways. Obviously it can go both ways. Like it's not like the car will only turn left, but there's a special aero package for the Indy 500. So a lot of these cars only race here, and that's why they can have other drivers come in, because you're just making a car for this and it's not too big of a lift. There's also a ton of practice days leading up to this, partly because it is such, I don't want to say like it's a unique circuit, because it is just a large oval, but we don't do a ton of large ovals in IndyCar. So you have to be very careful. It is dangerous. You're going really fast in an oval beside a wall, beside 33 other cars. Yeah, that's dangerous. So they have to make sure everybody's up to speed, and also gives you a lot of time to optimize the car to be perfect by the time qualifying and race day comes. So we just had 2 free practice days this past week, and throughout the month of May, this is why it's called the month of May, there will be a ton of other practice days leading up to qualifying and leading up to the actual race. You have like almost 2 full weeks of practice. Okay, let's get into qualifying now. This is its entire own weekend, 2 days. So if the race is always Memorial Day Sunday, this is always the weekend before, Saturday and Sunday, basically full days for both, though Saturday is like a real full day. The Sunday starts at like 4 or something. So, day 1, this will be May 17th this year, 11 to 5:55 p.m. This will set position 13 to 30. So how it works is, how a general qualifying bit works is, you're the only one on track at a time. It's similar to other oval qualifying if you've watched my beginner's guide to IndyCar, but you have 2 warm-up laps, and then you have 4 timed laps. What they're actually calculating is the average speed. It's not about how many like seconds it takes you to do it, it's the average speed. So you'll see a qualifying speed, not a qualifying time. Pole is often above 233 kilometers an hour, miles per hour, so like really fast. Like really fast, which is why they get so many practice days, because they need to like figure out how to drive there and be safe. So you get your 2 warm-up laps, your 4 timed laps, and then you get like a cool down lap. That's how it works. For everything the rest of this, when somebody goes out, this is what they're doing. The day before, on the Friday, there will be a blind draw to set up the order, and you do want to go towards the end. Of course, you can't pick, you're just picking it. Some people, it's a big event, like they'll like elect somebody to pick for them, or they'll pick for themselves and draw and get their number. And it goes, you typically would like to go towards the end where the track is really rubbered in and solid. But there's also just like some pure luck to it in terms of weather. If it's like a really hot day and you get a cloud, that might help you. If it's like a cold day and the cloud comes, that's not going to help you. You want to like, trying to get in a nice temperature window, but that's luck. So everybody gets 1 guaranteed try. I say try because if you go and you crash on that try, that was still your try. Once that's done, you get into one of 2 lines. Line 1 is you are guaranteed another go, time permitting, because there's a hard cutoff at 5:50. But once you set out, you are withdrawing your time, and this time replaces that. So if you do worse, that is your new time. Line 2, you enter and you are not guaranteed another go. It's only purely if time permits, but you get to keep your time. So people doing really poorly, or just know they didn't get what their car could do, will go into line 1. Again, this is mostly people trying in like the back end, trying to get guaranteed spots. If you have done well, you're probably going to go into line 2. And this is risky. Like if it's earlier in the day, you're probably more likely to go in there where you'll have more time to go. And if it's later, like you're probably not going to unless you're really desperate. And again, if like both lines are full, once line 1 is empty, then line 2 starts going. But as soon as somebody comes back to line 1, they get to go, because people will go often, but you can't go back to back. You need to like take time to let the engine cool, which we'll get into in a second when we talk about the Sunday of qualifying. At the end of the day, if you're not in the top 30, you are not guaranteed a spot. positions 31 to the however many left, this year it's going to be 34, have to race or qualify again, attempt to qualify again on the Sunday. They don't even have a time, so that's why it's like they will all constantly be going into line one. If you're in the bottom, you're going to go into line one because you don't have a time. You just haven't qualified at all yet. And at this point, positions 13 to 30 will be locked. As we typically do in IndyCar, the top 12 move on to go again to try to pick the top 6. They go again to decide pole. So 13 to 30 after Saturday, locked in. On Sunday, we have the top 12 first. They will all go again. Then you'll do the top 6. And then we move on to who is being bumped out. This year, only one person will be bumped out. To be clear, every single person on this day could go slower than every single person did on the Saturday. It doesn't matter. And I don't think that's ever happened. Like, it's possible, just like changing weather conditions. I don't think it's ever happened. Like, every single person went slower. But like, those positions are locked. If you are in the top 12, you're guaranteed to start somewhere in the top 12. Okay, doesn't matter how fast you go. You could actually not even go and you'll still be in the top 12. Like, if something happened, you crashed on your first run, you're still in the top 12, guaranteed. Okay. Top 12, you go based on your time from Saturday, slowest first, and you get 1 attempt. The top 6 from that move on, do the same thing, and this determines pole, which is like exciting because it's like nice to be the fastest, but you're not, like, pole isn't necessarily a good thing. The past couple years, pole winner hasn't won. We'll get into this, but you like actually don't want to be leading the race. You don't want to lead the race until the literal checkered flag, because somebody is always going to come up and get you. I'm a Pato Award fan. I have PTSD from this. Yeah. Now moving on to the bump, which is the last session on Sunday. This is where somebody is guaranteed to not enter the race, which is gutted. Like, it's awful, but it's also what makes it so special, is that you're not guaranteed. So each car is guaranteed 1 attempt, and they will get however many chances as time permits. So up until the last 10 minutes, you get to do another cool down lap, because as I mentioned, cool down is a big thing. You can't just go back to back, even though there's only like going to be 4 people in this. Like, they're going to be trying to go back to back. You have to let the engine cool down. If there's a problem, like, you gotta, like, you can like leave, by the way. You can leave the lines and come back and enter a line whenever you want. People will do that, especially on Saturday if you're like trying to get something out of the car. People will be doing that. By this time, it's not that long of a session. Like, it's an hour or so there's not too much time to like really be making substantial changes to your car if you're concerned you're going to be bumped. But like, people will try. And so you each get 1 guaranteed attempt, and however many changes as time permits. Again, up until the last 10 minutes, you get an extra cool down lap to get more air through the engine and cool that down faster. And then by the end, whoever is in last will not qualify for the Indy 500. And I want to be clear, like, this can happen to anyone. It's happened to James Hinchcliffe before, my beloved James Hinchcliffe. He got bumped 1 year, and it does kind of suck more when it's only 1 person. Because it's just like the 1 person isn't making it. That's awful, which will happen this year. But anyways, that's qualifying. By the way, it's like so much fun. Put it on in the background and you'll still be like paying attention to it as if it's like your main thing. Like, it's thrilling, even the Saturday. Okay. So that's that weekend. We have some practice days leading up to it. The big practice day is carb day. On Friday, carb day, as in carburetor day. That's the day they would turn up all the engines, the carburetors, and the engines would go pretty fast. Now it's still a fun day because that's kind of when people will start to come in, and they also do a big concert that evening after practice is done. There's also the pit stop challenge that day. It's a good time. I haven't been yet, but I hear it's fun to attend. Sunday is race day. Saturday, there's a parade in downtown Indy with all the drivers and I believe like an autograph session. But Sunday's the big day. So there's the big lead up into the race. There's a whole like procedure. People will camp there because like cannons go off at like 6 a.m. or fireworks or something to be like, everybody get up, it's race day. It's a big deal. Just so everybody's aware, you need to hit 101 laps to be official. So the race is 200 laps on a 2.5 mile circuit, hence 500. But it has to hit 101 laps to be official. The race can be postponed, like if it just gets rained out the whole day. It can race any day it needs to. Obviously, they'll try for Monday. Probably would happen on Monday. I don't know if it's ever happened fully on a Tuesday. But even if you get to start the race and then you have to pause it for rain or any reason, you have to hit 101 laps. So say it's Sunday, you've hit 98 laps and all of a sudden it starts raining and you have to stop it. Because by the way, it's not like F1 race where you just like put on your wet tires. You cannot race if it is raining. It's simply too dangerous. So they'll cut it off, start back again on Monday if they have to wait that long, and they will race until it hits 101 laps. If it's been 102 laps on Sunday and they have to call it, the race can be considered official. They don't have to restart it. We have a winner. Another note is that there is a hard curfew, both because of like lighting and to get people home, because it is the single biggest like sporting event ever. It takes a while for people to get out. You have to have time for that to happen. That changes, I think, depending on like when the sun is setting and everything. So I don't know when that is, but like there is a hard curfew. So a rolling start as always, as every single IndyCar race, except this time it's not 2 wide, it's just 3 wide, 10 long, 33 cars. There are differences in strategy based on like tire wear, fuel usage, and really the first 150 laps. Like people say like you can split it into like 4 50 laps races, and that's kind of what it feels like, which is true. But really like you're mostly surviving the first 150 laps. First 100, really, you're surviving. The next 50, you're trying to make sure you're in a good position. The last 50 is when the real race is. Of course, there's like really fantastic, great racing the whole time, but it really turns it up a notch in the last 50 laps. And don't underestimate strategy. Last year, Pato O'Ward qualified quite poorly, and all of a sudden, last 50 laps or so, he was in the top 10 or higher, and he almost won the race, and he finished second. So strategy makes a difference. Back to like you don't really want to be leading the race, and pole doesn't super matter. When you're leading the race, you actually use a lot more fuel because you're the one breaking the wind for everybody. The wind and the tow is a big deal in the Indy 500. Okay, we'll get to it again later. But you don't want to be leading you really don't want to be leading until the end, because as we saw with Pato O'Ward last year, you can overtake into the last lap. And Joseph Newgarden is still going to overtake you into the third and fourth corner and win the race, because the tow is so powerful. And so for the majority of the race, you don't want to be leading it because you're going to use a lot of fuel and you'll have to pit more or earlier than you'd want to, which you obviously don't want. You want your strategy to be how you want. So again, for the first like 100 laps especially, the person in the front and second will be like taking turns off each other. Maybe they'll even let the person in third come through, especially if it's the same team. Like they'll be nice to each other, same engine manufacturer, they'll be nice to each other. Again, 100, last 50 laps or so, all bets are off. It's different. Now, on the last lap is where things get crazy, as happened to Pato O'Ward last year. People had been doing what they call the dragon, because if you are in first and it's almost ending, the tow is so powerful that they can just shoot past you. So people coming out of the last corner will try to dip down almost into the grass and into the pit entry to break the tow so they stayed ahead. You are still allowed to do that, but you can't cross the white line into the pit entry. It's just a safety concern. Some people have gone too close to that line, to that wall that is the pit entry, and that would be a head-on collision at like 200, like way too fast. It's too dangerous. So you can't do that. But again, you've got to pick your timing carefully. Again, just watch Pato last year and you'll understand the significance of this. So another big thing, the last 2 years have been very crazy. 2023, there were multiple crashes in the last like 10-15 laps, and there was multiple red flags. Procedure was broken. You're meant to have like 2 warm-up laps or whatever, or 2 laps behind the pace car before you get going. They decided not to do that, and there ended up being a last lap shootout. Marcus Ericsson lost, Joseph Newgarden won. So they broke protocol to do that. They technically broke the rules. Since then, they have admitted that they will do everything in their power, they being IndyCar, the race officials will do everything in their power to finish the Indy 500 under a green flag. I tried to search if there was like a specific hard time where they're like, if there was a crash after this point, there will be a red flag and not a yellow. But I couldn't find that. I swear that there was a hard limit, but I can't find that information right now. I apologize for that. But just know that they will do everything in their race to finish under a green flag. So if there's a crash on lap 199, they're going to red flag it, 1 lap shootout, which is unfortunate because, again, like the tow is such a powerful thing. If you're in first, there's nothing you can do. The person in second is like gonna get ahead of you and win it, as happened to Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden. But at least they're clear about that. It also does kind of mess with the strategy. because you're like, I need to know, like, if something happens to the last 10 laps, like, what's the protocol? But it's just what they've decided to do. At least they're open about it being a green flag end. This does mean, though, that if, like, really the only exception to this is if there is, like, a crash in the last lap, like, what can they do? It'll, like, end under, like, a yellow or something, because, like, literally what can you do if it's already the last lap? You can't, like, go back. They don't add laps, I don't believe. They're not like NASCAR in that way. But it does have its disadvantages. But, like, you also have to understand it's, like, the most exciting race, and they wanted to finish under a green. So I apologize for my lack of clarity on that last point. I really, like, wish I knew if there was, like, a hard set, because I swear it was the last, like, 2 or 3 laps or something. They were like, yeah, if it's at this point, like, it will simply be red flagged. We're not even going to, like, put out the yellow. It's just going to be a red. So please correct me if anybody knows the answer to that. Also, feel free to ask me any questions you may still have. I will answer. But again, if you are, like, interested in IndyCar, also check out my IndyCar Beginner's Guide video. I told you everything you'll need to know about IndyCar here, but again, Indy 500 is sort of its own beast, so if you have any specific questions, please let me know. I hope this was helpful for you all, and I hope you do all watch the Indy 500 Memorial Day weekend, okay? Watch out for it. You better be there. You better be watching. You'll be hooked on IndyCar, I promise. That's what happened to me. I watched the Indy 500. I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. This is where it's at. You're telling me F1 is good racing, because the first one I watched was 2023, and that was fantastic, and that's when, like, Max Verstappen was winning everything. Anyways, I'm rambling now, as this podcast is called, so it kind of makes sense. But thank you all for watching or listening. If you are listening to this and you'd like to watch it, I post it on YouTube. If you're watching this and you'd like to listen to it, this is on all podcasting platforms. Please thumbs up, subscribe, comment, rate, follow, all of the things, and I will catch you next week for some race reviews.